Heyo, I know it's been a while. Q&A, let's go. At SwitchCal asks, what's your favorite Pokemon game? Emerald. I love Hoenn. Pokemon Sapphire was the first game I ever beat, and I love the Battle Frontier. It's my favorite thing in any Pokemon game, and I'm so sad it never really came back after Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Honorable mentions also go to Platinum, Legends Arceus, and Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. All of those are really fantastic as well. The very talented voice actress at Sasha Wesley 223 asks, serious question, which animated shows are your biggest inspirations? So, my favorite cartoons ever are Gravity Falls and the original Teen Titans. And for Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch voicing half the cast of his own show is actually a big part of why I started voice acting too. But weirdly enough, the show that first motivated me to become a writer for animation was actually Tough Puppy on Nickelodeon. I know it's weird and there's some stuff about it that hasn't aged well, and even now I don't consider it close to my favorite shows. But for some reason, the snappy writing on that show made young me want to start writing professionally instead of just doodling cartoons in my notebooks. It's what actually motivated me to become a writer and not just an artist. Of course, Gravity Falls being fantastic was what eventually motivated me to try a lot harder and become better as a writer, but it just goes to show that inspiration can come from some pretty unexpected places. They also asked, meme question, what's your favorite meme? As for my favorite meme, I had to think a long while for it. There's probably an endless set of Simpsons and SpongeBob and Gravity Falls moments I could pick because I love all those shows so much. But here's the top 3 I could think off the top of my head. I like this one because it's a good reminder that cultural awareness isn't just whatever the talking points in America are. Every culture has different jokes and biases that some of us can't even begin to comprehend. And it, helps us remember that discrimination's kind of pointless because there's always going to be people in some place you've never heard of and they hate people you don't even know, and none of their problems matter to you and none of your problems matter to them because they're not even real. For a much more lighthearted meme, I also like this one because it's really relatable, and I love wherever really niche quotes in movies and shows can be used in memes, pretty much one-to-one. And to tie it all back to Pokemon, I really like this meme because I've never seen such a mathematical, factually justified takedown of a single character from any fandom. I'll leave this on screen just a little while longer so you can just see how much effort went into showing how Wishcash is just worse than all the other water ground type Pokemon. At least it gets Dragon Dance though. Cobalt Rebellion XYZ asks, do you prefer to buy your clothes at the soup store? As much as anyone, but sometimes, I just walk over to the next aisle and there's just more soup. I don't even know what is going on there. At Sketchios asks, what was your all-time greatest achievement on this channel? I could say the original Pokemon Adventures vines and memes because, that was the first time I ever tried making a proper YouTube video for the channel that did well. Or, Mochi Mayhem memes, which is still the most viewed video on my channel by far. Oh my gosh. I was not ready for it to be as successful as it was, but my number one biggest achievement has to probably be my animated short film, Wishful Thinking. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, it's a comedy short about a guy who finds a genie who tries to scam him, and if you like the humor on this channel, I think you'll really like it. It's over 6 minutes long, and I've animated pretty much all of it, as well as writing and voicing in it. Not to mention there's some crazy talented people who also helped with the soundtrack, editing, backgrounds, and voice acting in it. And that leads me into Poland Ball Fan 101 asks, do you plan to do more Pokespe vines? I recall watching them earlier last week and I loved watching them. So yeah, I made a video a while back that says if Wishful Thinking gets to 500 likes, I'll make another animated Pokespe vines and memes video. So give Wishful Thinking a like, send it to all your friends for them to like it too if you want that to happen. Either way, I'll always be making more Pokemon videos, especially Pokemon Adventures videos, so stay tuned for more. Now we have some more questions about the Pokemon Adventures manga. Most of them are related, so we'll do them back to back. Kieran Kitakami asks, what is the best arc in your opinion? It's not a big surprise, but it's Ruby and Sapphire. It's obvious since I've already made several solo videos about them, and I love Gen 3. Ruby and Sapphire are my favorite pair of Dex Holders. I love their character development and their relationship. I love the high stakes of the arc near the end. I love how much focus the side characters get, like how the gym leaders get so many solo chapters for their fights against Team Aqua and Magma. I love how Groudon and Kyogre are shown as these massive region-destroying threats instead of their cannon sizes of just being slightly bigger than a bus. But yeah. Honorable mentions go to Yellow, Black and White, and Diamond and Pearl. Those are all fantastic too. Actually, I also like reading Emerald of all chapters as my comfort arc, since I love the Battle Frontier too. And even though it's just started, I think Scarlet and Violet is probably the most fun the manga has been in the last 10 years. Definitely check it out if you can. SadCancel6244 asks, which Dex Holder do you relate to the most? So it's not a big surprise that I'd say Ruby. I've always been a guy who hates being forced into manly things, and as a part of myself I've always been pretty short on despite any outside pressure. So I really like how Ruby enjoys things that are considered girly like making snacks and cuteness and sewing, but he also learns to be less ashamed of stereotypically manly things like battling or liking girls. Since, liking things doesn't really make you any less of a man, but also liking manly things isn't bad as long as you aren't a jerk to people about it like Norman or how Sapphire was at the very start of her arc. Pokemon Adventures Guy asks, who is your favorite Pokemon Adventures Dex Holder? Also love the Pokemon Adventures Dex Holders Divine series. Thanks. So yeah, I'd say Ruby is among my favorite Dex Holders, aka the protagonist of the Pokemon manga, for those who don't know. But to add on to that, I'll also say that the rest of my top 5 favorite Dex Holders include Yellow for being simultaneously so sweet but also heroic and smart and breaking new ground for manga protagonists overall, Platinum for being so elegant and refined but also very scholarly and humble enough to admit when she needs help, as well as Black for just being a typical shonen protagonist who actually studies hard to succeed instead of just going with the usual, I'll believe in myself harder, or I'll just power up beyond and punch even harder, or I'm gonna win with random nonsense like most other shonen protagonists, not gonna name names, but hey. And this may be a bit of a surprise, but I'll also say Emerald, because I really relate to how much he loves the Battle Frontier and strategizing, and I know a lot of the fandom hates him, so I'll just act as his defense squad for a second. Most of the time when people call Emerald annoying, it's when full-grown adults are beating him up and threatening him for just asking for directions or trying to sleep in peace. I like his character arc of learning to admit how much he loves his Pokemon because it's more nuanced than making him a strawman comp player who's always mean to his Pokemon. And another reason I think fans might hate him is because it seems like they usually headcanon him with like the most annoying voice ever. But honestly, I just imagine Emerald having the same voice as Tara Strong's Ben 10. They're both snarky, they both have the whole green color scheme thing, and they both even wear the number 10 on their outfits. If you don't believe me, check this out.
Oh man, this is gonna be the worst vacation ever. I might as well have gone to summer school.
Yeah, maybe be a little bit nicer to Emerald or else you don't get more videos. I'm just kidding, mostly. But honestly, I love all the Dex Holders, except for maybe Blake. So, honorable mentions go to Shield and Scarlet because I think they're really funny and have very unique personalities for female manga protagonists. I just couldn't rank them because their stories aren't currently finished yet, but they're great. RS the Goat asks, do you believe in Dia's superiority? I love Diamond too. I like how they made him so sweet and chubby-cheeked in the manga. I always imagine that he, Pearl, and Platinum have the same voices as Aang, Sokka, and Katara from Avatar, because I think it really fits their personalities. If you don't believe me, check this out.
So hungry. Is that egg custard in that tart?
Also, don't be afraid to make up some phrases, especially before an attack. Something like, Flying Kick-a-Pow! Who are you, anyway? I'm just a guy who likes comedy.
No! I will never, ever turn my back on people who need me. I'm going down to the village, and I am gonna do whatever I can.
Cubostar asks, what's your favorite character in Pokespe? Do you follow any other Pokespe content creators? So, you already know who my favorite Dex Holders are. I'll just use this as a shout out to the Pokemon characters who are manga exclusive or just get a way better treatment in the manga. They include Bill, Trickmaster Coil Boy, Marge Courtney, Surd, Kimberly Ultima, Zinnia, the Galactic Admins, and Nimona. As for the second question, I'm sad to say that like all of the best Pokespe content creators on YouTube usually get copyright claimed like Scalfa or Vvolt. But honestly, if you're someone who just makes Pokemon Adventures content in any way on any social media platform, shout out to you. You are absolutely fantastic and a reason why this fandom is so great to be a part of. So for the last question, we have Manga Master 1991. Fish, yes or no? Maybe. Sorry, didn't want to get political on the channel, but hey. But yeah, thank you all so much for 3,000 subscribers, and I hope this channel can keep growing from here. Like I said, watch and like Wishful Thinking, share it with your friends, and subscribe and stay tuned for more content I have planned in the future. I definitely have plans to make more Pokemon content and more original content, some of which is the best stuff I've ever made for the channel, so absolutely stay tuned. Thanks and bye!